Good evening, fight fans. You are listening to a Radulich and Broadcasting alternative commentary for Keith One-Time Thurman versus Mario Barrios. I'm your host, the man-data reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And joining me in the commentary booth is one-time prime rib, Daniel Lasby.
Who names himself one time and name himself? You name how many wins you have, not that one loss. Come on, man.
Oh, you don't see. You're not down with the street, Daniel Lasby. You don't understand. Right. One time, baby. One time. Boom. See, that's what you say before you shoot somebody in the head, like this.
Yes, you say one time before you shoot somebody in the head, and then you skip town for 2 years.
Well, that brings us back to Keith Thurman, then, doesn't it? So yeah, we'll be covering the main event here. The co-main just ended with Leo Santa Cruz, who picked up the victory, unanimous decision, 100-90 across the board. Prior to that was Jesus Ramos with a 6-round TKO over Vladimir Hernandez. And as you and I were talking before the broadcast tonight, Luis Nery got a split decision, which was odd, I thought, over Carlos Castro. I thought Luis Nery threw him a beating over the course of 10 rounds, but I guess one of the judges thought otherwise. In any case, we are ready just about for Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios start making their ring walks. So let's talk about it, Daniel Lasby. Keith Thurman coming off a loss to Manny Pacquiao, which we covered that fight back in July 20th of 2019. Myself, Pat Mullen, and Robert Winfrey. That's in the archives now for you to listen to if you're interested. And he lost the WBA Super Welterweight title. Prior to that, he had been 29-0, last fighting Josesito Lopez, another fight we covered, where he got a majority decision, retaining the WBA Super Welterweight title. He then went on hiatus for about 2.5 years, and this is his fight. So this is essentially a audition tape to get the winner of the probable Errol Spence Eugenius Ugas fight that may or may not be happening at AT&T Stadium in April. So with all of that said, who is Mario Barrios? Well, Mario Barrios went 26-0, last fighting Ryan Carl, getting a 6-round TKO before he stepped up with his WBA regular superweight title and proceeded to lose it to Tank Davis on June 26, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia. And so
he took some shots in that fight. Holy cow.
He sure did. So let me throw it over to you, Daniel. You've got two guys both coming off losses, the only loss on their record. This is a make-well fight for both. This is an opportunity for Keith Thurman, as I said, to step up to Errol Spence or Eugenius Ugas, put himself back in contention for the welterweight title. This is an opportunity for Mario Barrios to make a name for himself and see where he stands and what title opportunities may be afforded to him. How do you see this one playing out?
I mean, I got to think that to use your audition tape reference previously, it's really Thurman's audition tape to see whether he should stick around. I mean, he's been around a long time. He's had a long career. He's taken some pretty long bouts in between. And I mean, Manny Pacquiao is a legend, but he's also been a senator in the Philippines since 2016 to just show up and beat a man.
Manny Pacquiao has been a lot of things. But Manny Pacquiao has been a lot of things. I think he was a senator. He
colonel in the Philippines Army.
Yeah, he does it all.
He does a lot of stuff.
Yes, he does.
I mean, Thurman's got more to lose in this fight. If Thurman doesn't win this fight, I think he has to arguably call up Sean Porter and say, hey, listen, what do next steps look like? Whereas Barrios is young enough. He's got a good enough record. If he can take this to the distance, okay, it's an extra loss on his record, but it's not the end of the world. Frankly, I think if Thurman doesn't find his power in the first 4 rounds, Barrios has him outgassed.
You think Barrios will take him into deep waters and drown him, or carry this over?
I just think Thurman's had too many injuries. He's got too much potential for ring rust. If he can't find that old school, his original style, which was show up and just punch the bejesus out of people, not really worry about the boxing match, just be throwing heavy. I don't know that he's got it.
So you're looking for Keith Thurman to try to end this early and make a statement win here. He gains nothing by carrying this to a decision, and possibly he may be giving it away, perhaps.
Agreed.
Well,
what do you think, sir?
So we have a comment here from somebody on Facebook. Says nobody's watching, just turn on the fight. Yeah, I'm not going to show the fight on screen. Sorry, that's illegal. But and I do want to make that. Hey, if you're hanging out with us, wanting to hear us listen while you watch the fight, that's great. We'll put your comments up on screen. We'll have fun. We'll engage with you. But yeah, if you tuned into my live stream because you think I'm going to turn the camera on the fight, have a good night. It's not going to happen.
It's going to be a short night for you.
Yeah, it's going to be a short night. Moving on. So the other thing I wanted to ask you, there's been, speaking of nobody's watching, there's been some talking on social media about how this fight's being broadcasted. It's on pay-per-view, and it's like an $80 pay-per-view, all things considered. And a lot of the buzz was basically like, this is at best maybe throw this on Fox prime time, maybe put this on a cable or a streaming. This is not something that you should be paying $80 for. What do you think?
So here's what I'll say. 5 hours ago, I get to watch it in Canada, so I can watch another fight for $10. 5 hours ago, it was like $80 for this pay-per-view is madness. Because, as we talked about, there's a lot of guys that are on this card that are looking to make an audition for being able to have a legitimate shot, or they're looking to kind of make a comeback and say, hey, yeah, I lost the title, but I'm still a contender. I'm still hanging around, and give me another shot at it. I will say, after watching the fight so far tonight, though, as close as the majority of them have been, except for Carbajal, who I think is a bum, and he looked like he went away like a fridge package of hamburger after Santa Cruz threw about 190 shots to his guts. I mean, there's a lot of close fights. One weird decision, but really good boxing all in all.
Yeah, I would go ahead and say that this has been an entertaining night of boxing. I'm not. Well, first of all, I'm crazy. I'll buy any pay-per-view. I had the night off last night. I literally watched 2 different kickboxing promotions on Fight for like $20 to $10 a piece. So yeah, I'm nutty and I'll watch anything. But for most people, despite the fact that this was a fun night of fights and it's been entertaining, not necessarily sure this was pay-per-view quality, though.
Yeah.
In defense of the people who made that decision, Leo Santa Cruz is a pretty big name. Keith Thurman, I think there might be some interest from afar, like, ooh, is he going to make a comeback here? Are we seeing some exciting things potentially on the horizon for Keith Thurman? And this is the beginning of that. So
yeah. Are you on the ground floor to his comeback?
Right. And that may, the problem is people maybe just be content to wait and see, what's on the blogs tomorrow as far as that interest level goes. Like, this might not be the fight that gets everybody. They have a pretty decent crowd there, it looks like. This might not be where everyone's like, oh, well, I bought the pay-per-view because I was interested. Let me check Bad Left Hook tomorrow. We'll see what happens. And then maybe it's the next fight that he does where people will shell out some money.
I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the in-between commentary, but they needed to charge at least $40 for it to pay for Sean Porter's jacket. So,
all right. Well, we are just about ready to get underway here for this WBC welterweight title eliminator. He called out the potential winner of Ugas Spence, but I'll tell you what, Terrence Crawford's also looking for a halfway decent opponent. And I think he had a war of words with Bob Arum. I think they're now in a lawsuit. It's entirely possible.
He's out of contract for sure.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that depending on how this fight goes, maybe, if the wait's too long for the winner of Eugenius Ugas, Errol Spence, if that actually happens, maybe Bud Crawford might not be a bad payday for either one of them.
And I mean, listen, Crawford could do from having a bit of a stronger contender. I mean, yeah, he's had some better fights, but he hasn't had anyone who's really given him a staunch run for his money. Sean Porter was a good fight, but Sean Porter was towards the backside of his career, and they were good friends. He needs somebody who's going to give him a real, that he can put his stamp on and say, hey, listen, this is how I show you that I am undisputedly the best person in this weight division. Don't talk to me anymore.
All right. Kenny Bayless about to give final instructions in the ring, and I want to go ahead and say Kenny Bayless is my favorite boxing referee.
All right.
Have you ever seen this guy in action? He
I don't think so.
whenever he breaks somebody up and then he backs off, he like moonwalks back. He's got a dancer's grace. This one.
I mean, listen, I saw him given the instructions in the back room earlier, and he was very animated. He had an anecdote for every situation.
He can, yeah. I've said this for a very long time. I saw him when I first saw him, I think it was a Showbox fight, and like I saw him practically moonwalk back, and I'm like, all right, he's one to watch. He's fun. Between him and Yosemite Sam and mixed martial arts. All right. So for those of you watching on social media, as we are about to get underway here, put your thoughts up, put your comments, your criticisms, anything you want. We'll share it up on screen. And here we go, round one. And yeah, Keith Thurman stalking Mario Barrios to start off with.
Go big, Thurman.
Oh yeah, Keith Thurman's looking to. You can tell by his body movement right now that he's not waiting for Mario Barrios. He wants to get in there and get this over with as soon as possible.
Lennox Lewis gave him brownie points both for putting his weight back on in 2 days. He said he probably picked up 8 to 10 pounds, and for being a proprietor of yoga. And I'm not sure how those two crossed over, but it worked out for him.
I'm not going to argue with Lennox Lewis. He's the last unified, undisputed world heavyweight champion. He gets a pass in my book.
Listen, a man who has dreadlocks and then shaved head and works both with both of them, I'll give it to him.
Exactly. Keith Thurman still controlling the center of the ring. Big left hands and a right from Keith Thurman.
Barrios looks a little tentative.
Yeah, Barrios is looking to see what's kind of mustard Keith Thurman has on those punches. He's looking to fight a little defensively, which I don't blame him, seeing as Thurman's come out hot and heavy in this round.
As he should. And I mean, he's also coming up that fight with Tank Davis, where Tank Davis threw some friggin' small buildings into him.
The other thing to consider, and this came up when I looked at one of the boxing blogs earlier, I think it was Boxing 24/7, that Keith Thurman looked very, very gaunt during the weigh-ins.
Oh yeah,
what you were saying before, that he put the weight on pretty quickly, but that that goes to will he keep enough gas to last if he has to go all 12
will he be able to carry that extra 8 to 10 pounds?
Right. Jab there from Mario Barrios. Keith Thurman working that left hook.
I mean, it almost looks like Thurman's left eye is a little red already, and I didn't see him get caught.
No, Barrios doing a good job of covering up, protecting his head and torso. Keith Thurman's looking for an angle.
Yeah, Thurman looking like he's trying to bring the fight to him. Barrios looking like he's trying to gauge where he's to.
Right. I think Barrios is confident that he can absorb an attack from Keith Thurman well enough going forward. Oh, Keith Thurman starts to open up there, lays in a few combination.
I mean, I will say Barrios hasn't been completely kept to the outside. They've been able to switch positions a couple of times. So.
No, Barrios actually just tagged him with the left. Now Keith Thurman's got some movement going. He isn't just stalking forward. He's starting to circle. He's bobbing left and right. And that is the end of round one. And I'm going to have to go ahead and give that one to Keith Thurman. What do you think?
I think so too. I think he led the pace a little bit better. He's got a few more punches in the round, although the punches are relatively close.
Mm-hmm.
Interested to see how Barrios adjusts through round 2 and round 3.
I would, despite the fact that he lost that round, I would tell you that's probably a confidence builder for Mario Barrios, for sure.
You want to know you can hang. You want to know that you're not going to come out and walk into Tank Davis again and be have to muscle through 6 more rounds.
All right. So good first round, though. So far, I'm entertained. I am entertained, Dan Lasby.
Nobody outmatched out of the gate. Like it's not like that bomb Carbajal.
All right. Round 2. Here we go. First big fight of the year. I mean, there's been a handful of fights that have happened over the course of January, but not a whole lot that we could pay attention to. I think the last thing you and I did was a UFC fight because there wasn't much else to cover.
It's true. Look, you know way more about weight classes than I do. The welterweight division seems pretty deep, though. Considering even if you look at these guys, like the age range between them, the experience range between them.
And then that was a division that I think Canelo ruled over for quite some time before he moved up and up and up and up and up.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's looking at, I think it's like light heavyweight again.
I mean, why not? He's just going to win everything everywhere, it appears.
Oh, Canelo. 120-0. All right, back to the fight here. Keith Thurman, much of the same this round as the last. So he's covering up to move inside, but then he's not throwing like he was in the first round.
He threw a lot of punches in the first round, and his percentage wasn't bad. I think it was 21%, but that's still a lot of punches to throw to not connect with when you got to clean it up in the early rounds.
Based on his footwork here, I'm wondering now if he's trying to bait Marios to start an exchange so that he can counter.
Open up and get a couple of good shots.
Yeah, he had a good left there. Caught Barrios coming in again.
To your point, though, Barrios still looking pretty confident.
I like the way Keith Thurman's using his left. He's poking holes in Mario Barrios. He's not a whole lot of oomph or mustard on any of those, but he's definitely scoring some points, winning the round. Big left hand from Keith Thurman, follows up with the right. Mario Barrios looking to counter. He's not able to hit him.
Barrios pretty quick on his defense, though. He got a couple of good gloves up where he almost got tagged.
I think he might have just had Thurman coming in again. Mario Barrios is definitely in this fight so far.
Yep. Like it appears they're both trying to fight their type of fight. So, I mean, that leads you to believe that neither one of them is desperate at this point.
Mm-hmm. Another good left hook from Keith Thurman. Good left hand from Thurman. Yeah, he's winning the round.
I mean, points wise, he's got the round.
Yeah,
he's not dominating, but he is leading the pace.
According to the score on the screen, he's landed 29 to Barrios' 14.
So open it up a little bit.
So credit to Keith Thurman. He's being composed. Mm-hmm. You know, he came out, he threw a lot at Barrios, and Barrios stood with it, gave away the round, but he still, he was there, and he gave Thurman a fight. Second round, Thurman was more composed and said, okay, this guy can box, he's good. Let's see, let me put some work in. Let me be not so quick to try to thrash this guy about, which I think is good, because if he starts going Donkey Kong in there, yeah, I don't know if he's got the gas to last past round 6. And for those of you currently watching on social media, whether it's Twitch or either one of our Facebook pages or YouTube, just want to say hello. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. I know there's like a million of these going on right now throughout social media, these live streams of people commenting, but you're hanging out with us, and we certainly appreciate that. You guys got any comments? Feel free to leave them. We'll put them up on screen if they're pretty good.
Welcome home. So I thought that Thurman really liked the left in that side. He brought that left hook 2 or 3 times, hoping to get it.
Yeah, he's working that left hard. And Marios doesn't have a tremendous amount of answers for it. He gets hit. He's getting hit with it pretty regularly. Score is the 30-15 landed for Thurman and Barrios.
Okay.
Big
Barrios
right hand.
got to either get inside or he's got to open him up. One of the two.
Got him with the right hook there, but Thurman shrugged it off. To your point earlier from the first round where he had some redness around his eyes, I'm wondering if Barrios is starting to see if he can target that. Use that to his advantage.
Not a bad idea. Is Barrios generally up a weight class? Is he down a weight class for this fight?
Well, he fought Tank Davis at super lightweight. So, yes.
Right.
Good shot to the body there from Barrios as Keith Thurman was in pursuit.
Thurman coming in. feel like Barrios almost needs to take a page out of Santa Cruz's book here and work some of the body. Like they're both working pretty high.
Yeah, Barrios could stand to throw a bit more volume. One of the things I see Keith Thurman doing is he'll start the round and plant and try to throw some power, and then the second half of the round he'll get on his bicycle a bit and start moving around and get Barrios to chase him.
Thurman's a little more red-faced this round, though. He looks like the effort is beginning to show. Although a couple of good thumpers.
Thurman sidestepped and tried to come around with a hook there. I think Barrios blocked it off. Oh, caught him there with the right and the left hook. Thurman did.
Ooh, yeah. That's what he got to do, though. He got one more round as far as my prediction goes. He got to drop that power in there. I don't think he looks like he's got the same footwork in this round that he did in round 1 and 2. He's sidestepping, but he doesn't seem like he's dancing quite the same.
I'm wondering if he's just feeling confident that he can take Barrios' power, and so he doesn't necessarily have to be as fleet of foot or as careful.
I mean, super fair. You got to wonder if dropping that weight, Barrios loses a little bit of his own personal power. I mean, he's had a couple of good connections, but Thurman's comfortable with this weight class.
That's the end of the round. I would say that's another one for Thurman.
Agreed. I mean, I don't think that they've been blowouts, but I think Thurman's committed for sure.
They're closer than all of that, but I think he's winning by a fair enough margin.
And he's almost 2-1 for landed shots.
Yeah, for sure. So Keith Thurman going into this next round really has to remain confident, stay composed. He's got to move those feet.
What do you think they're telling Barrios?
I think they're telling Barrios, "Hey, stop waiting for him. You're not getting the better of a lot of these exchanges. You need to ugly this up a bit."
Yeah, get inside, throw a few more shots.
Right, get in that phone booth with Thurman, because I'm not entirely sure Thurman would love that. I think Thurman's very confident keeping him on the outside.
Agreed. I mean, you come inside, you throw a couple of hooks, you throw maybe an uppercut or two, maybe make him respect the fact that he's got to stay away from you, and then you can change the pace of the whole thing.
Good combination there from Barrios. Tagged Thurman. Thurman walked through it. All right, Thurman's coming back with a combination of his own. Big swing from Barrios.
Yeah. Thurman's got to feel confident that he is controlling it. Barrios got to throw more volume.
Yeah. A little too tentative.
Yeah, his work rate is not as high as I think I've seen it in some of the other matches.
Well, it almost seems now like Barrios is hoping that if he does land something, Keith Thurman's going to fold. And nope, Keith Thurman is now coming back strong. He landed a series of punches there, clean on Barrios. Barrios had to back and circle away.
Yeah, Thurman's historically had a good chin, right?
Yes. Keith Thurman right now starting to pick up the pace a little bit. I think he sees blood in the water.
Yeah, Barrios looks like he's waiting for that perfect shot, and Thurman's just beating him up.
He's had a couple of clean shots on him that shook Barrios, and he didn't take his legs out from under him yet. But see there, that exchange too. He's getting him right behind the ears.
And you know Barrios can take a punch, but like you don't want to take 15 punches every round and try to keep going.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to a point like we've done with other fights that we've called where it's going to get late in the fight and he's lost too many rounds and he doesn't quite have the power to knock Thurman out. And then what do you do?
Yeah, you can't pick up the points. You don't have enough rounds left. I mean, yeah, we're only out of 4, but it's only 12. You're a third of the way through the match at this point. You've lost 30% of the rounds.
Up. Keith Thurman's in on the attack. You can see I have the volume down a little bit, but just enough that I could hear the crowd start to get excited. The commentators too.
Everybody smelled blood in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to feel good if you're Thurman. I mean, you're taking full vacations, coming back and still being able to hold your own.
Straight left from Keith Thurman tags him on the nose. Barrios keeping up his guard, but Thurman's finding a way through.
I mean, the better part of that match, he stayed on his feet through willpower alone. That was a tough round.
For Barrios, for sure. I think that was the end of round 4, I believe. And I believe right now it's 4-0 for Keith Thurman.
That round wasn't nearly as close as the other rounds have been. Thurman owned that round.
No, for sure. Barrios looked in trouble there once or twice. And you saw Keith Thurman really go at him when he got his legs shook. Yeah, hey, if you're just joining, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, he got a bloody nose coming out of that. Thurman looks like a bad man.
Hey, if you're just joining us here, we'll be covering this main event till its conclusion. Daniel and I, plus myself and Robert Winfrey and Pat Mullen, we try to get at least one fight in a weekend, especially when there's a lot of fights going on. Over the past couple of months, we did Tank Davis, we did the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight. We did Lomachenko. All of those are in the archives now if you're interested in hearing more of our alternative commentaries. And for you MMA folks out there, Dan and I did our first UFC pay-per-view where we did the entire main card.
Hey, yo, marathon for the win.
We'll be back again at the beginning of next month for the Friday night ESPN fight with Jose Pedraza. So stay tuned for that.
All right, so Thurman's through 4.
Yep, we are back here in round 5.
All right, Barrios, this is a big round for you, man. You got to make a statement.
Barrios came forward there, but Thurman was able to roll off those punches, so they were ineffectual.
Still not throwing nearly enough volume. Like, come on, Barrios. Yeah, throw more punches, man. Get your work rate up.
Larry Hazard's unofficial scorecard has it Keith Thurman 40-36, which is what we said, so we're in good company there.
I mean, a couple of big swings by Barrios, but
71 landed to Thurman's 36.
And Thurman's got enough space. He's able to he's winding up into those shots.
Yeah. For that last exchange there, he was throwing these wide ass hooks for, right and left. Just Barrios didn't counter. He didn't take advantage of it.
He's not even being able to get back. Every step he takes backwards, Thurman's flying into him with a Superman punch.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, for the inactivity and all of that we talked about with Keith Thurman, he's moving pretty fast. Barrios has thrown a couple of combinations, and I've liked Thurman's defense. He's rolled off those punches. He's evaded. He's fighting a good fight.
Seems like he's still got a good bit of gas in the tank too.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy.
Well, I think he knows how important this is. I mean, he's on a big-time pay-per-view. This is a comeback fight after 2.5 years. I think he knows if he doesn't impress here, he's going to have a much harder time getting any good fights going forward.
Well, I mean, I bet he feels good if he can make this not go the distance. He can say, hey, we both fought Tank Davis. Tank Davis had to take him the full length, and I put him down in X rounds. If nothing else, it builds your confidence to say that you can still go toe-to-toe with the division.
So they've had some good clashes there, and Mario Barrios started to really throw some leather, but Keith Thurman, using his body movements, evading punches, as I said before, he's making Mario Barrios work, and Barrios, I mean, he's hanging in the fight, but he's not winning the rounds.
No. And going into 6 here, Barrios got to come out hungry. He finished 5 looking a little bit more hungry, but it took him till the last 15 seconds to really start to throw something. And I'm surprised by how slow that Barrios appears to be against Thurman. Like, Thurman has good footwork. He's a good boxer, but I wouldn't have said that he was going to dance out of the way of that many shots.
So you can see in the replay here that Barrios is bleeding from, I think, the nose.
Yep.
He's taking, compounding punishment round after round. All right, here we go. Round 6. I'll be curious to see now if Keith Thurman feels confident enough to pick up his pace a little bit, to be a little bit more aggressive.
Well, he's picking his shots pretty good so far.
Yeah, he's fighting a very good technical fight. He's very composed in there. Barrios on the attack backs Thurman into the ropes, but really backs off of him again. See, I don't know if I would have done that.
Can't imagine. I mean, I think you gotta work him now.
I think if you can if you're Barrios and you can cut the ring off from Thurman, and keep him sliding along the ropes, I think you might be able to do some damage and pick yourself up around.
I think you got to pick up a couple of rounds. You got to throw more. You got to land more. You got to close that gap.
Because that's the other thing is that Keith Thurman can go wherever he wants in that ring right now, and Barrios is not able to stop him. Yeah.
Barrios is coming hard, and then he's stepping back instead of pressing the attack. I wonder if taking a knockdown in that last fight, Barrios is concerned about being knocked out.
I would say so.
Which isn't unfair, but I mean it's a tough way to go into a fight, especially against a guy that, like, the mind game is this guy's been off for 2.5 years. The last fight he fought was against a legend in Manny Pacquiao, but not a Manny Pacquiao in his prime.
So Keith Thurman's landed just about 2-1.
Yep.
Over the course of 6 rounds so far. And even though Mario Barrios occasionally gets the better of Thurman on an exchange, he's not able to catch Thurman like I think he wants to.
Thurman just seems like he's in his head.
It's interesting. They're both kind of throwing at the same time.
They're throwing at the same time. Barrios hasn't been able to take advantage of his reach, and he's not coming on the inside. And Thurman's going through him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he caught Thurman with a double jab there, and then Thurman came in to press the attack. Barrios tried to pick up the volume there. See, I like what I see from him now, but Thurman's covering up, using his defenses. Oh, he's nailed Barrios twice.
And Barrios opened up late in the round, the last 2 rounds. Late in the round.
Big shot there from Keith Thurman
to
end the round. Ended it with a statement. For those of you hanging out with us, wondering what we're going to do next, in 2 weeks, Dan Lasby is going to join myself and Christian, allegedly, and then possibly your buddy Chris Bailey. We're going to do some wrestling. The Podsman and I, we did the Royal Rumble last weekend, and in 2 weeks, we're going to be doing the Elimination Chamber from Saudi Arabia. So that'll be fun. Not a lot of boxing this month. Everything is on DAZN, which if you're listening and you're like, hey, I want to be a part of this, hook up with me after the show, because I am always looking for somebody to do some DAZN coverage with me.
He's just looking for an excuse to watch more boxing.
You're not wrong. One of these weekends, I think they're doing wrestling trivia, and I got my wife to sub in because I didn't want to do it because there was a really good boxing match that night.
Oh my!
Yeah, I was like, I'm out of here. I'd rather be watching boxing. So if you're like, hey man, this sounds pretty cool, it's something I'd like to do every once in a while, and you've got DAZN, hook up with me after the show, and we'll see what's what. Barrios is on the attack now in round 7.
Go big.
Keith Thurman off the ropes.
He's 6 rounds down. He's got 6 rounds to go. He's got to win every one of them. Lay into. How many risks do you think Barrios can take at this point? Because it feels like he's got to take a lot.
I mean, look, he's lost presumably every round going into the 7th. At this point, why not take a few chances? Because it's not like you're going to win this thing on points at this, going forward. Unless maybe the next 2 or 3 rounds he gets a knockdown on each one.
You'd have to win every other round. And to your point, have a couple of knockdowns.
Right, which, unless there's a serious change in Keith Thurman's demeanor and presentation, I don't see happening.
He'd have to get his bell rung and fall apart at this point.
Which, as I say that now, because I tend to curse things when I see them out in the world, is probably exactly what's going to happen. So let's count it down.
That's your Radulich turning point right there. The second that you say it's not going to happen.
If I speak the opposite into the world, then it ends up happening. Your next mandatory challenger, Mario Barrios, because I said, hey, it's not like Keith Thurman's going to get knocked out. They're carting him away. All right, but in the fight that's actually happening.
At this point, Thurman's still looking good, still controlling the pace. I mean, Barrios has held the center of the ring, but Thurman's held the...
It's reminding me of the fight we called last year. I think it was the Crawford fight, where it was like, it's more of the same every round.
Just dictate the pace.
Yeah. This has been it's been an entertaining fight, very good technical boxing match. It's a boxing fan's boxing match, but it's second verse same as the first.
Yeah, it's technical boxing. Each round is the plan. You're delivering the plan. You're kind of going. Nobody's opening up. Nobody's taking huge chances.
Yeah.
You don't get the sense that somebody's gonna just
we're not seeing we're not seeing a lot of dramatic moments here. Just steady work. And Keith Thurman, to his credit, he still got a lot of bounce in his step.
Yeah, he looks good.
Barrios gave him chase, and he big uppercut there from Barrios. Swung with the right hand. So see, he closes really nicely on each round. Have you noticed that?
Yes, but he needs to do that all round.
Keith Thurman has finished strong in every, so he leaves a lasting impression for the judges.
Yeah, Barrios has a nice flurry the last 15, 20 seconds of the round, and then Thurman gives him one good clip and walks to the corner.
Hey, those of you still hanging out with us in the social media, I can see on the counter on my screen. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios. And if you do, and you haven't had an opportunity to heard all the ones we did last year, when did you first come on? What was the first one we did together, Daniel?
That is a good question, and I want to say that it was.
I know we did I know we did Shakur Stevenson. We did that.
I think
fight.
That was the first one.
Okay, yeah. So we did that one. We did the Crawford fight. We did Jake. It was me and you who did Jake Paul, right?
It sure was.
Yeah, me and you did Jake Paul, Tyrone Woodley too.
I dream of the day one of the Paul brothers gets completely knocked out of their socks.
We were joking last night. There was this guy who looks like me and is built like me who won an Australian super heavyweight kickboxing match. And Robert Winfrey goes, at this point, you could challenge at super heavyweight. And I said, hey, if I can get Logan Paul in the ring, I'll do it.
Listen, man, go full butterbean on him. I will pay the $80 for that Fox pay-per-view.
Right, let's pay attention here to what we're doing. Big opening shots there from Keith Thurman. Scored with a series of hooks. 117 landed to 413 thrown at 28%.
It looks like he's just putting in time.
Shots. Yeah, I would like to see Keith Thurman put an exclamation point on this. I don't think at this point in the 8th round of 12, Mario Barrios has a whole lot left in the tank to return fire with.
I mean, I think that if if Thurman can get a knockdown, he basically gets to call his next shot, right?
Larry has it at 70-63, so we're all on the same page here.
Because even coming off the ropes that last 10 seconds, 15 seconds ago, like Thurman just leaned out of the way and then he rolled off the ropes.
And you can tell, looking at Mario Barrios' face, he's cut up pretty good. He's really taken a beating in this fight.
Yeah, and his footwork doesn't look great. Thurman is dancing around him.
Yeah, he's definitely flat. But again, I think in his mind, he's like, I just need one good shot. I'm like, that's not great when this other guy is A, scoring against you, and B, is able to move around you.
And at this point, it's not going to happen. He hasn't been able to. He's had a couple of good chances at Thurman, but for the bulk of it, Thurman's just gotten out of the way. He hasn't even
look at the blood on Mario Barrios. He's really opened up.
Yeah, Thurman's taking it apart at this point.
Big shot there from Keith Thurman. And to Barrios' credit, though, he walked through it.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt that Barrios could take a punch.
Big right hand from Thurman. And Barrios said, hey, I'm tired of this, and goes after him. But Thurman able to use his footwork. Barrios has him in the corner.
Yeah.
It just lets him right out again.
Come on,
Keith
man.
Thurman sort of crouched down and sidestepped his way out, and Barrios just let him do it.
There's no need. Come on, Barrios.
Step up, clinch, throw your body into him, do something. Let this guy run in circles around you. Big right hand from Keith Thurman.
Come on, you catch him in the corner and then you tell him you love him. It's no good.
And that is the end of that round. And the close-up there, as we can see, he's got a nice cut there over his left eye.
Quarterman's going to have his work come out for him.
Yep. Yeah, he's got a good split there. Credit to Keith Thurman, because that was the work of those big right hooks that he was throwing.
Throwing bombs. And he finished the round going after it again. To your point, he finished the end of the round with a statement right on that bloody eye.
Yeah, they're showing it in the replay now. He dodged a punch, returned fire, nailed him right in the eyelid.
Yeah. Los Azteca, you're falling apart, man.
All right, if you've got comments, if you've got some opinions on this fight, are you enjoying it? Is it boring to you? Is it like, it's all right? We'd love to hear from you. For those of you watching on the various Facebook pages or YouTube or Twitch. If you're watching on Twitter, it's nice of you. We appreciate it, but unfortunately, you can't leave comments. I mean, you can, but I won't see them until I check my Twitter later. All right, we're back in here, round 9.
Something interesting about Thurman is he seems to have blended his two different styles together. He's a better boxer than he started out at, but he's gone to some of those heavy hits that he started his career with.
Mm-hmm. We are at 133-77 landed for Keith Thurman, who is running away with this fight.
Running away in a car.
running away in a car, you say?
That's correct. It's one of those Flintstones cars where you have to put your feet down first.
I'm with you.
Oh, monsters.
So if you're Keith Thurman at this point, you've comfortably won this fight. It's round 9. Now you might be at a point where like, all right, I'm probably, unless. So, all right. So our friend here from previous fights on Twitch, he's joined us before. Mr. Jay Royce says everyone was sleeping on Thurman, but he's returned in rare form. Yeah, he's had a good showing for himself tonight. He is absolutely made a statement that he's here, he's in the welterweight division, and he is to be taken seriously.
I mean, I think that you got to, like, Ugas is in the crowd, and I think he's got to seriously consider that if he fought Thurman, he would be in for a legitimate fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't particularly see Thurman as having a tremendous amount of ring rust here. I think he's fought conservatively. But it's worked for him, so it's like who can blame him? He hasn't had to open up too much. He's had a steady game plan through 9 rounds of this fight, and it's worked. So you can't take that away from him.
if you look at Bud Crawford's fighting style, it's a similar method of combination of some good strong shots and then being a ring general.
And I think the star of Keith Thurman's performance here has been his defense, has been his ability to make Mario Barrios miss him.
Agreed.
And that it works for, Shakur Stevenson, it worked for Floyd Mayweather. These are guys that don't necessarily get all the knockouts, but they are able to move around the ring, make you miss them, and win on points. And that's boxing.
We talked about how Barrios can take a shot. We talked about in his last fight with Tank Davis, he took some big shots and had to muscle it through.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard bet to say that you're going to muscle it through. Like, you can take a couple of those big shots and then a body shot puts you down for the TKO later on in the match. If you don't get hit at all, you don't have that problem.
So I'm seeing as Keith Thurman walked out of the 9th round, look like he almost had a bit of a limp there. I'm not sure what's going on with him. It was a very slight, but I didn't notice it as he was walking to his corner. I'm not sure if it was just him taking some deep breaths or not. Which if he's starting to lose some gas in his gas tank, I think we're going to see him keep to the game plan, keep his defenses up, but I don't see him going roadhouse for the remaining 10 through 12 rounds.
Well, I will say round 9, he didn't throw nearly the volume of punches that he has earlier, but he also is way out in front. He's got to be at least 8-1 rounds, if not 9-0, and I think 9-0.
Yeah. Tell looking at his face, he's pretty composed. He's like, okay, I've got this well in hand. Don't mess up. Don't make a mistake. Don't let him in and throw all of this good work away, making a silly mistake, trying to force a knockout that just isn't coming.
Yeah, for sure. At this point, he's been able to stay out of the way. He really just needs to stay out of the way at this point. He's got the match in hand. He can pick and choose his shots.
Look at his footwork there. He still has a little pep in his step.
He's good.
$144 landed at 512 thrown. Still
That's
keeping
crazy,
it 28% with 24 body shots.
And Barrios still only has mid-80s. He's almost double him still. Barrios still looking so tentative, just trying to find that perfect shot that's not coming.
All right, snuck a left in there. Barrios tried to return, not a whole lot on it.
Thurman does look good. Still moving around.
Mm-hmm. Still got good defenses. Yeah, look at him. Look at the way he bobs and weaves and evades those punches.
He's doing a great job. He's taking a few glancing blows, but nothing really.
Barrios just tagged him, but Keith Thurman says, nope, no thank you. Comes right back with a 1-2. Very wary that. Yes, Jay Royce asking us if we watched the undercard. Yep, I've watched everything since 7 o'clock.
It was a good night.
Yes, it was. Very good night of fights.
The Santa Cruz match we talked about.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man. I'm such a sucker for the underdog. Like, at this point, I want Barrios to just put something really nice together. Even if he doesn't win, just put a good showing up for yourself.
Well, a total absence of clinches in this fight. He really didn't force his will on. On Thurman when he could have. So what's happening is that Thurman is circling. He's on his bicycle. He's circling around the ring. Barrios is trying to find a way inside, and he can't quite find the target. Thurman is too evasive, and that's the end of the round.
Oh, Yeah, Barrios chasing, but then not holding ground in the few moments where he's had him on the ropes, the few moments he's had him in the corner, he just lets him wander home.
As Jay Roy says, Ramos got a nice stoppage versus Hernandez. He certainly did. It was a really great fight.
It was good. I had called that he was going to have to defend the family name after his uncle lost earlier in the night, and I was nervous for the first 4 rounds. I mean, Hernandez is like a machine. He's just like that continuous plodding engine. I was a little bit nervous, but then Ramos opened up on him.
So next weekend, Friday night, there's a fight on Showtime. We've got Jermaine Ortiz versus Nahir Albright, Joe George versus Sean Hemphill, and Paul Crawl versus Marquise Taylor. Saturday is a big one. We'll be doing the Saturday, February 19th. We're doing the Elimination Chamber is the Amir Khan fight, which we almost ended up doing that one. But then I was like, I'd rather watch the Elimination Chamber instead.
Because you love Bill Goldberg?
Correct. Hey, so interesting. Larry gave round 8 to Mario Barrios. So he's got it 99-91, which, not going to argue.
Okay. I mean, we did call that Thurman took his foot a little bit off the gas in 8.
Yeah. Might be what they're picking up on.
I mean, he doesn't have to at this point. At this point, he's got so many rounds, so many points.
All right, we are into the championship rounds, as it were, round 11 for this WBC welterweight title eliminator.
Thurman just waiting him out at this point.
Yeah. Barrios, you talked about him not able to use his reach. Every time he tends to overextend, he tends to throw long, but then Thurman just steps just out of reach to where he's not able to land a shot.
But I mean, listen, from a coaching perspective, I don't know that I've seen Barrios throw more than 20 body shots. Every shot, he's looking for a headshot. And at halfway through, I even said as his corner, it's like, hey, listen, you're throwing for the head. You're not catching him. He's getting out of the way. Bring him down. Make him stop for a second.
Every time he does that step forward straight left, Keith Thurman dodges out of the way.
By a mile.
He needs to continue to step forward and try, he's basically allowed Keith Thurman to stay on his game plan. And what he needed to do a lot earlier than this was clinch up with the guy, make him carry his weight, stop letting him move around the ring at will.
Change the pace.
We have a friend here on Facebook who says, I really don't like Barrios as a boxer. Look, he's trying here, but he doesn't have that extra level to change Keith Thurman's game plan. Keith Thurman hasn't been able to do, there was a comment in here earlier. I didn't put it up on screen, but it was like, hey, what's going on? What do you, tell us what's happening. And it's like, the same thing that's been happening, unfortunately.
He's outclassed. Barrios is outclassed. Yeah. He's a one-dimensional fighter at this point, and Thurman has taken that one dimension, times it by 6, and just walked away from him.
Yep. Again, it's like that. It's like the Bud Crawford fight from late last year that we called. It's a lot of work over the same round after round after round.
And it's unfortunate that, Barrios has come in.
Okay, so he went down. It wasn't a knockout. Keith Thurman did. He just looked like he got, like he lost his footing, and he sort of tripped over his own feet. Looked a little off balance there. But it was not a knockdown. I think Barrios was just as surprised as Keith Thurman was. So here's a really funny comment, speaking of professional wrestling. For those of you who are like, don't talk about wrestling, this is a boxing match. Please be patient. So our friend says, it's a damn shame Goldberg got a lot of pop in over half the WWE roster in AEW. Well, when you only treat 3 people like they're stars and everybody else like they're jabronis, that's what's going to happen. The crowd responds to stars, Poor Big E, by the way. Poor Big E.
No, I can't.
Thanks for coming, Big E, you piece of trash. I'll get back in a tag team that you've been in for the past 20 years.
Good thing he loves the Jesus.
All right, round 12 here, and we are almost at the conclusion of this WBC Eliminator. And here, if you're Mario Barrios, You need to run Keith Thurman down.
Yeah.
Run him down, get in his face, get in that phone booth. Don't give him an inch. What's the worst that's going to happen?
He needs to make up that 90 punches. He's got to throw 100 punches in this round and hit every one of them.
Yeah. We have a friend here asking who won the Santa Cruz fight. Leo Santa Cruz did, as a matter of fact.
With authority.
He sure did, Ollie.
So much so that I thought Carvajal was going to cry at one point, to be honest.
Leo Santa Cruz won a unanimous decision 190 times 3, friend. Thanks for checking in with us.
All right. Come on, Barrios.
As we are winding down round 12 here. So here you and I are cheerleading for Barrios game for Pete's sake. Pick it up.
Just do something. Just do something.
At least he's consistent.
He is very consistent.
Keith Thurman ducked right into that. Yeesh.
So what you're telling me is at this point, Thurman also feels so bad for him, he's going to literally throw his face into the punches. So let me get you a few lands.
Make it look good, kid.
Yeah.
So Jay Royce with a brilliant point here. The ability to change gears and make adjustments is the difference between good fighters and great fighters.
Agreed.
And it has been the difference maker in a lot of the fights that we've called here on W2M, that you have these guys that they get stuck in a rut and they can't make the adjustments. And then the guys that see things are not going their way and are able to change tracks.
You get taken
sometimes
apart.
they are able to pull a victory from the jaws of defeat.
I mean, listen, I think your boy Shakura's got that gift. He's got that gift that he can be a brawler, and he's developing that gift that he can be a boxer.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I think Shakur Stevenson is one of the up and coming great fighters of our time. Another friend here on Facebook says Barrios being scared stopped him to make adjustments. I think he should have been more aggressive and more pressure. Asking to fight for 10-ounce gloves is not a good start. Yeah, I'll tell you, that's what we've been saying all fight. So we have a question here on Facebook. Did Thurman hurt his hand? Have you seen anything like that? I mean, like I said, a round or two ago, I thought he may have, maybe pulled a muscle or something or hurt himself. It looked like he was limping, but I haven't seen it since. What do you think about his hand?
I mean, I haven't seen him pull any punches that he's thrown up to this point. He's throwing less volume.
Right, and he just wailed him with a right hand there in the corner. See, Thurman's seeing if he can get a 12-round knockout here. Good for you, Thurman. Don't coast to victory. That worked terrible for Misha Tate's husband.
Matt, tick all the boxes.
Big left hand. Boom. Yeah, Keith Thurman's wanting to make a fight of it. Put on a show here in the 12th round. And why not? Why not? Send the crowd home happy, Keith Thurman. And that's the end.
Grandpa comes back with a victory.
For the time.
For the time.
We have a friend here on Facebook watching us. Says, shout outs from the Philippines. We support Keith. We do support Keith. Good on you, Keith. Welcome back to the world of fighting. I'm hoping that the rumors are true that we'll get Spence and Ugas at AT&T Stadium in Dallas in April. For the love of Christ, if it's true that the Tyson Fury Dillian White, the ever elusive Tyson Fury Dillian White, and might I also add, Dillian White, stop being an idiot about this. Just take the money, Dillian. It's fine. Christ, they're offering you this gross national product of Honduras.
Right.
Just take the money and take
buy a
the country
title when you're done. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine, Dillian. It's fine. Anyway, allegedly the date rumored for Tyson Fury Dillian White, now rumored to be at Wembley Stadium, is the 23rd. So if this is happening at AT&T Stadium, hey, let's not do it on the 23rd or the 30th, shall we? Let's shoot for the 9th or the 16th in April. Maybe there doesn't seem to be anything on the calendar. Don't do it on the 2nd either. That's WrestleMania.
Yeah,
let's send him a list. Let's not have everything happen on the same night.
If you could just send Tyson Fury your list of dates he's not allowed to pick, that would be perfect.
just texting Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum and everybody right now.
Yeah.
Like, these are the dates that work for me, Mark Radulich of
That's
W2M. All right. Yes, thank you, Keith, for coming back. Good comments, guys. Thank you. Well, thank you, sir, friend. Hope all of you enjoyed our commentary so far as we look to be. So we have a question here. What's next for Teofimo Lopez? I believe we covered that fight at the end of last year, myself and Robert Winfrey, and we talked about he was going up a weight class after losing that fight.
Mm.
I'd have to check. All right, so here comes the scores. 117 to 111.
Yep.
118 to 110 times 2.
So the real question is, with his experience, with this previous championship, with this match, does Thurman get a shot at the title?
Well, this is a WBC eliminator. The current WBC welterweight champion is Errol Spence. He's also the IBF champion. And then, as we've been talking all night, he's slated allegedly for an April fight with Eugenijus Ugas. So theoretically, on Monday or Tuesday, the WBC should order Keith Thurman as a mandatory challenger for whoever ends up winning between Ugas and Spence. So I guess we'll see what happens, but I believe that's where we are headed next.
And preferably in 9 months rather than 2.5 years.
Well, you figure, like I said, that happens in April. You're looking at third quarter for at the earliest for Keith Thurman's next fight,
right?
Which I think is fine. And I would
That's
not.
fine.
And if I were him, that gives him 6, 7, 8 months to train, relax, get his legs under him, and prepare for it. Assuming my timeline works out the way that it does, and we don't have another big layoff for whoever wins against Spence and Ugas. All right, so a couple of comments here.
Snows, oh my God.
We have a friend here on Facebook that says it doesn't look good for Thurman in this division. Looks like Father Time caught up with him. I thought he had a good showing here.
Okay.
I think if maybe the expectation was he should have dealt with Barrios a little bit easier. Again, you're talking about a 2.5 year layoff. You don't want to go in there and make a huge error, and then you're the one waking up the next morning with the loss. That you missed an opportunity to put yourself back on the map.
I mean, he went 12 rounds and he looked like he was okay for gas. He didn't, drag himself to the corner.
Yeah, both of us thought that he might not be fresh by the end of this, but he still had some pep in his step. He was still moving around the ring, and Barrios had nothing for it. All right, so that is it. Unless anyone's got any more comments, I'm gonna go ahead and just do a couple of quick plugs here, and then I want to thank everybody. This was a really fun night. We had a lot of people checking in on us, and a lot of great comments. I appreciate all of you. And nobody challenged me to a fight tonight, Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want me to do it?
No, not particularly. Just every once in a while, somebody gets in there like, hey, who gave you two the right to comment on boxing, and then they want to challenge me to a fight? And it's like, I love social media. Anyway, we appreciate all of you. This was a really great, fun night for me and for Dan. So anyway, as far as, like I said, boxing and live coverage goes, next week we're off. Unfortunately, I will not be home for the Daniel Jacobs fight on DAZN. The week after that, instead of doing the Amir Khan fight, we're doing the Elimination Chamber. But I will probably be watching Jamie Mungia versus Demetrius Ballard on DAZN. So I will actually I'm sure by then the Elimination Chamber will be over. So, hey, if you heard this tonight and you're like, I'd like to be a part of the action here, and you've got DAZN and you're interested in the Mungia fight, let me know and we'll work something out here. The week after that is Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall, which I will not be home for. But in the evening time on Showtime is Chris Colbert versus Roger Gutierrez. And then Friday night, that is the next time you'll get to hear Dan and I together specifically for boxing. We will be covering Jose Ramirez versus Jose Pedraza on ESPN Plus from Fresno. Who moves to Fresno, says the Karate Kid. California. Hey, we don't just do boxing. This week, we've got a whole bunch of TV and movies to cover. Myself and David Wright will be reviewing Agretzko Season 4, for those of you into that sort of thing. We'll have a re-airing of the original 70s Shaft trilogy review that we did from a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And then myself and Jason Teasley will be looking at the pair of Samuel Jackson Shaft movies to close out that circle. Our regular Tuesday night new movie review show, Damn You Hollywood, we'll be looking at Roland Emmerich's Moonfall. Look, I'll just tell you right now, we're going to spend 5 minutes talking about Moonfall and an hour complaining about Roland Emmerich complaining about Marvel movies.
Hey, listen, Moonfall didn't even air in Canada, so you're ahead of the game.
You didn't miss anything. For those of you into the metal, we are reviewing Korn Requiem Wednesday night at 9. On Thursday, we have a couple of shows for you. We'll have a re-airing. The Batman ticket starring Robert Pattinson, directed by Matt Reeves, go on sale. That's Thursday, February 10th. So to celebrate that, we're going to re-release one of our old reviews. We did a debate over the merits of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, directed by Zack Snyder. Alexis Haina, the queen of animation herself, and I will be reviewing Looney Tunes Season 4 and the Looney Tunes Valentine Extravaganza. And then Jason Teasley will be back, continuing our celebration of Black cinema during Black History Month. We will be looking at a pair of 70s blaxploitation films, Coffee, starring Pam Grier, Superfly, and Blackula. Ever see Blackula, Dan Lansby?
Yes!
Well, isn't Blackula great?
Oh my God.
Fantastic. And then Saturday, this is from way many years ago. We're going to re-air it here because Body Count is in fact in the house. Yes, Ice-T's thrash metal band, self-titled Body Count album. We will re-air that on Saturday, February 12th. Check out all of our fun shows that we did this past week. We looked at The World on GCW and No Holds Barred 21, Masters of the Universe Revelation from Kevin Smith, Catwoman starring Halle Berry, Jackie Brown from Quentin Tarantino. We did a triple feature of some black and white Oscar bait. We did Belfast, Passing, and Come On, Come On starring Joaquin Phoenix. We reviewed Battle Beast, Circus of Doom. Hey, for those of you still listening that are here for the boxing, we do a history of boxing podcast where right now we're looking at the entire legacy of the Four Kings. We're currently up to Chapter 7, Hagler versus Duran and Hearns versus Duran. That's in the archives. If you haven't gotten a chance to hear that series yet, we did one episode apiece on each of the Four Kings, and then we looked at Duran Sugar Ray. We looked at Sugar Ray versus Thomas Hearns. So check out all those podcasts. And then theoretically in 2 weeks, we'll be doing Hagler versus Hearns, which I'm really looking forward to because what a fight that was. And then, like I said before, we've got the last 2 Keith Thurman fights in the archives that we did alternative commentaries for. And finally, Chris Bailey. My son and I, my 8-year-old son, almost 8-year-old, we did a review of Hotel Transylvania 4, Transformania, and we also did the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild.
I'm sorry for your loss.
So we real quick. So we have a friend in here who says, "Gracias, amigos. I challenge you to a fight if you want to come to Mexico."
There you go.
Right after I go to the Dominican Republic in March.
Bro, you can have
battle bot reactions. I have no battle bots, and you should comment on Mexican boxing fights. Hey, if I can find them to air and I've got the time. Jesus Christ, I almost did the Pillow Fights Championship. Okay, have you seen this, Dan? They're up to the 3rd Pillow Fights Championship, and the 3rd one was on Fight TV.
Yeah,
and I was actually semi interested in that. All right, so that's it. That's me. You can find all of our podcasts on any podcatcher that you like. We are the W2M Network, and my part of it is the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. We have our own Facebook page, and all of our boxing stuff's on our History of Boxing Facebook page as well. We're on YouTube at W2M Network. Dan Lansby, you want to do any plugs?
I mean, the only thing I'm plugging right now is the Elimination Chamber. I can't wait to be both worked up and to tell everybody why Seth Rollins is the savior of the universe.
Yep, we're finally getting the WrestleMania match that we were robbed due to COVID. Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, the people's main event. I can't wait. All right, folks. Again, thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. For Dan Lansby, I'm Mark Radulich. We'll see you at the next fight. Be well, be safe, and behave.
See ya.